They say that's an external fuel tank for the space shuttle, and that's a man. 250 pounds, 58,000 pounds. Let's just do it in the video so you can see. That's a blimp. First of all, it's not a steel tank, and it's 29 tons. 58,000. Look at the man who is just 250 pounds. That's 113 kilos. He jumps, he falls. Free fall, nothing to do with gravity. It's just the density. The density of his body is higher than the density of the air. That's why he falls. And they say this is a fuel tank. 29 tons, which is 29,000 kilograms, 58,000 pounds, floating. If somebody can illuminate me, my poor brain of a human being living in a world with no curvature, no curved water, why the heck is this 29 tons a thing floating, and the human who is 113 kilos doesn't float? Well, because it's a blimp. Blimps float because they have helium inside, or any other type of gas that floats, and the density of helium is less than the density of the air, and because of the materials and the design, they float. This is the technology that the previous human species had. The previous humans invented this, not us. And you're gonna see now some pictures from the Hindenburg, from the Germans, and now you understand why they censored this technology after the last moments of the reset, which was the Second World War. Actually, pretty much the Second World War, because Germany was still using them until 1939, and America as well. And that's the blimp for you. It's a blimp. Even like if you compare it with the previous human species, the previous humanity videos and stuff, it's the same principle, a blimp. So they call it a space shuttle external tank, but it floats, and it's at the same height as the human who falls, because it's a helium blimp. And these are like the methods of transportation they used, the Germans and the Americans and the previous humans. That's why the skies from the black and white pictures of the 1800s, they're grayed out, so you don't see the technology, the flight technology, amongst other things. And not just, this is primitive technology compared to the technology of the so-called human gods. So hope you enjoyed it, and next time next time you see this, it's so common knowledge. The human falls because the density of the body is higher than the density of the air. The human is 250 pounds. This fuel tank is 58,000 pounds of steel and everything else. Oh, and it floats. It floats because it's a blimp. It wouldn't float if it was a steel tank. It would fall just like the human, but even with more power, because more weight, more power, more free fall. That, and the force of the free fall, that acceleration is not because of the gravity of the globe Earth spinning in space. It's because of a difference in density. So if the density of the medium, in this case the air, would be higher than the 29 ton steel tank, the tank would float. But because it's air, the density of pretty much everything is higher than the air, with the exception of very few materials. Among them are the blimps, which are filled with helium. And that's why, in my opinion, that's why they censored this technology, because they're using it now for the space stuff. So, and anyway, I hope the pictures from the previous human species make you understand. Hey, I am just showing you facts, reality. Don't mess with me. I'm just giving you reality and truth, and it's up to you if you get angry or if you want to insult or whatever. If you insult the truth and the reality. What a sad human species we are. Rockets are balloons, which is gonna see here in real time. As you can see, the way it goes up and the way it wiggles in the sky, in the air, that's typical of a balloon. Look at that. So only if you don't want to accept it, you will not accept it. The video is it's only 3 minutes long, so stick with me if you want. And that's pretty much the balloon. A balloon is not necessarily a globe. A balloon is whatever, and you fill it with air, and it has like a boost underneath, and that's how it goes up. That's why it goes up slowly. It's not heavy, as it says, and then it moves in the air. You're gonna see it's actually affected by the wind. Something that would be really heavy with metal and stuff will have no issues, especially on a simple, nice blue sky day. And look at that. This is also happening because of the tip of the actual thing is heavier than the body itself, but still light. And when it goes up, that's the reason why it moves like this. We've seen the previous video how the balloons can get technical difficulties and they explode. and yeah, whatever. I don't get the company. I don't care if it's NASA or like SpaceX or like other companies. And it's you know, I don't even know how to explain it anymore. I mean, you just look at it and you see it's not a rocket. Rockets don't behave like this. We've seen rockets in videos from the Second World War in Germany, and this is not the way they behave. Yeah, and the way they float, you know, like they just stay there and they float. That's the reason why, because balloons float on the level Earth with no spinning curvature and no water, no curved water. Right now we're going to see a comparison between what's supposed to be the professional rockets from the big companies and an amateur rocket that you can build in school. But yeah, it's a balloon. I mean, it makes so much sense now. Of course, this might be too much for the big majority of people who insult those who live on a non-spinning globe with no curved water. So yeah, this is the amateur. So say the rocket, it's not even like a rocket, it's just an amateur school project, and that's what happens. And you see, we're gonna see the full comparison on the same screen, both between. This is the amateur one. So you just made by anybody can do this if they have the proper materials and if you want to dedicate your time. And the same thing with the parabola, right? It goes in a parabolic way, and then they switch to animated CGI content. It's only so much that they can go into the air before it drops. That's the same thing with NASA and the other companies. And this is the balloon and the balloon. So the amateur balloon and the SpaceX balloon. So it's professional and amateur, and it's the same principle. If you dedicate your time to like for 1 minute to see the comparison between the two videos, it's just obviously in the SpaceX balloon they have more boost power. That's why, you know, it looks like a bit more stable. But in the end, the very end of the day, it's exactly the same principle. So in the same way, it reaches the top and then it goes down, and you know the way it wiggles in the air. That's the truth. That's what it's out there. That's the fact. And whoever doesn't like this, well, too bad for them. Rockets are balloons. Look at that. A typical NASA rocket or SpaceX or whatever. In this case, I think it's NASA because of the black and white stuff. And it's a balloon. Balloons are not just globe shaped. They can be any shape. Rocket balloon. So a balloon with the shape of a rocket, and down we have like, you know, the force. And it's just, this is just like typical science class, like nothing special. You can do it in science or whatever, like school science. So that's the type of things I use. We're gonna see another video afterwards regarding the actual rockets of SpaceX and stuff, with their balloons. You know, when they fail, that's what happens, because they're balloons. And that's the typical explosion of a balloon in the atmosphere, in the sky, when something happens, or when it burns down or whatever, and it's just like it's a balloon. Okay, even like the pieces, they're balloons. And here, for comparison purposes, your typical balloon, that's the type of technology they use. That therefore they never go to space. I think you knew this before, but you know, just so we can enjoy the awesomeness of supreme technology. And that's it in a balloon. You know, a balloon, and the actual rocket itself is very small. You know, it's just like enough to get a boost to go a certain distance in the sky before it goes down in a parabolic way. And that's why they switch afterwards to computer generated images and videos, so to say that they've been in space. And that's, you know, this is reality. You're not gonna get punished for this, because this is what it is. It's the truth. It's not like other things where you're not allowed to speak about. So there's no rules saying that you're not allowed to show the balloons used by the space agencies. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.